I'll always remember the day when I left engineering in the government. I remembered walking into the office with papers in my hand, and my heart was racing. And I was thinking, should I be making this decision? What if I'm making the wrong decision? Looking back, it was the best decision ever. Hi, it's Tracy. Welcome to Financial Nirvana Mama, the place to be where you learn to manage your money like a pro because it's mission critical to your success. So today, I'm going to talk about why I left engineering and why did I decide to leave a six-figure government career. If you're thinking of leaving engineering or leaving the government or pivoting to a completely different career, well, I did all three of those. That's why I wanted to share my journey because I thought by sharing the process and what I was thinking, it'll help you along in some way if you're on the fence about it. Also share, most importantly, signs and solutions if you're on the fence and obsessing about it. So, if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification because by doing that, you're going to learn how to grow your passive income the smart way by investing in stocks, real estate, so that you ultimately reach your financial nirvana. So if you want to take career breaks, quit your job, or build your nest egg so you can leave a 100+ legacy career for your family, or simply do whatever you can because we all deserve a life of no regrets, then please hit the subscribe button and like and the bell notification and all the latest and greatest videos will get to you. So let's get on with the video. So many people have asked me why I gave up my engineering career in the government. It took me like years of hustling to work my way up to these dream engineering projects I've always wanted to work on. And I knew that I wanted to work on these early in my career. And it was a secret goal of mine all throughout engineering. And the government had a ton of room for career growth and progression and personal opportunities, personal growth opportunities. And so why did I leave? So that's why I want to give you a brief history of my career to explain why. So like many kids in high school, I struggled like everyone else, just trying to figure out what I want to do. I took all the classes you can imagine: law, psychology, physics, math. Math was mandatory. I even volunteered for an entire year in a hospital just to try out to see if I could see myself as a doctor because that was one of the careers I wanted to really do. But nothing interested me. In fact, I was getting super bored. And the only thing I liked was physical education and physics. Now, physics was actually the worst mark out of the three sciences. But what fascinated me about physics was the ability to visualize and solve problems in the natural world. Now, a month before I graduated, I went and had a heart-to-heart discussion with my physics teacher, and I told him honestly, I said, I love physics, but I don't want to be a physics teacher, no offense. And he told me he understood. He told me, well, how about engineering? So I was just like, what? What's engineering? So I immediately jumped onto that because he said that. And I went and shadowed female environmental engineering. And I was just so happy. Like after just that shadowing made it was like a big change for me. So I decided to major environmental engineering, and this coincidentally, this female environmental engineer was also working for the government. So it took me 2 weeks to decide what to do, redo my whole university application. I switched from like from going to arts to going to engineering and enrolling myself in summer school to make sure I had all the prerequisites for engineering. I was so excited. I was so relieved to finally figure out what to do that I never gave a second thought of whether engineering was the right profession for me, for my personality and skill set. So I was so lucky when I graduated. I had no problem finding a job. I had even a very awesome government job offered for me with the highest salary out of all the jobs that were offered. But I decided to go straight into engineering consulting to build up my technical skills and get my hands dirty, like engineering fieldwork. And during those years, they were so fun, but so demanding. I worked a lot. I worked all-nighters in the office. I was averaging, 50 to 60 week plus work weeks all the time. And I also had student loan debt. So I moonlighted as a tutor and as a model. And I lived in the most expensive city in all of Canada. It was tough. I was trying to work all these jobs so that I could completely pay off my student loan really fast. And this amounted to at least 75 hours of working every single week. Although the work was tough, I loved the social environment in my job. So I stuck it out. It was an awesome social and team environment. And everyone was working just as hard. Unfortunately, several years into the consulting life and hustling in these two side jobs, it was causing problems. Like I was experiencing health problems and I contributed this to the workload, and my priorities were completely upside down. And I decided I couldn't do it anymore. I was letting work overtake my life, and it was wreaking havoc in just like wanting to go back home. Like I wouldn't go back home because of my job. So I decided to leave consulting and join the government. And because they had the dream environmental engineering projects for the next 7+ years working in the government, I focused on project management and worked on really, really cool engineering projects. But there's so many things in the job that completely bugged me. There's so much bureaucracy and I couldn't do anything about it. And I tried. I worked a lot and I expected a lot from others, but the the bureaucratic red tape just and all the inefficiencies started to bother me. I was working on things that you shouldn't be working on. I know there's a bunch of admin processes that were just like, why are we doing this? And I did it on my own time, worked it well into the night to try to make it more efficient, but I was hardly making any dent. Okay. I was investing in real estate at that time. I was learning the ropes of being a landlord and as a property manager and starting a family. I was working all the time. And in the end, I realized I was constantly filling up my time with work. So I gave birth to twins and I didn't spend nearly as much time as my nanny or my husband with them. And because I was constantly working or traveling and or so I had someone else always taking care of my twins and I was experiencing a lot of mom guilt. Also, I was spending so much time in meetings and teleconferences and traveling. And in order to prepare for these meetings, I had to work at night. I was so not present with my kids, nor with my husband, and my career became my identity. I also lost interest in these engineering projects. Now, I'm not sure why. I think it has everything to do with the environment I was in. It was very energy sucking. There was so much red tape and bureaucracy involved that there's so much involved to like fix that you're not actually working on the engineering side anymore. And I think that was the reason why I lost interest in it. And then one of the main reasons I was going into the office was because of a near-term opportunity. I've invested so much time into this mega billion-dollar project, and it was going to get me to the next level. And it was huge. But that kind of wasn't, I couldn't actually see a future. As much as that promotion was there, I couldn't see a future for myself in the government career. So also the pension and the perks and the benefits were like amazing. But they were never a driving factor for me when I entered the government. I entered the government because I wanted to work on these dream mega scale billion-dollar engineering projects, and which had because the government has all the funds to actually fix environmental problems. But I started losing interest in it, and it caused a lot of it showed up in my physical and mental health, and it started deteriorating. So because of the sedentary lifestyle and the stress that was involved with constantly juggling a career, my twins, my real estate investing, and the fact that I was just simply unhappy. So I realized that I have a constant way of attracting responsibility, which comes with stress. And I started wondering what it would be like to just readjust all those responsibilities and stress levels and pursue my interest as an entrepreneur. And so that I could become more efficient with time, so that I could control my time, be able to say, okay, when to be more engaged with my kids and spend quality time traveling with my family. And if I was going to be completely stressed out, why would I not stress out about building my own business and pursuing my own interests and pursuing my own desires? So my real estate investments at that time were already enough to support my kids' like post-secondary education needs, and it covered basic housing costs, and it was a nest egg for retirement. So I was constantly just tired of working for another paycheck to only reinvest a lot of it towards rental properties, and I realized I had a strong entrepreneurial spirit. I've been living a double life for the past like for so long, since university, and with a keen interest in making extra income through investments or through self-employment, so while juggling a daytime career. So I decided I needed a change, and I took a sabbatical. So I took a sabbatical to completely refresh and actually spent a lot of quality time with my kids, because my kids were really young at that time, 3.5 years old. They haven't even entered school yet. So it was an amazing, best opportunity to do that. So once my kids started full time, then I drove dove straight into my other interests and realized that, you know what, the government is simply just not for me. The salary job is just not for me. I get sucked into the Kool-Aid of always wanting to keep getting promoted in the corporate ladder, yet honestly, I don't want it at all, but I was just doing it because, it's like peer pressure. Like everyone's doing it. Why wouldn't you do it? So it took me 8 months of constant self-awareness and reading before I had the courage to give up my engineering career completely in the government. Now, if I were to go back in time, I would totally still done engineering. There's no doubt about it, but I would have for sure done a minor business because I was already doing that, doing all these extra things on the side all the time. But I didn't realize it. As for jumping into the government, I don't regret that decision at all. I had the right intentions. More importantly, it was in my government career that I was able to diligently build up my real estate investments and savings, which enabled me to pursue full-time entrepreneurship at the age of 35. So signs of whether or not you should leave your career or you're on the fence about it is here's some signs. Like first, you have mommy guilt. You feel like you're just spending so much time at work that you don't have any time to engage with your kids. And even when you engage with your kids or your husband, you're not present. Second thing is, are you experiencing health or mental problems? Is it physically showing up in signs like do you break out in rashes all the time, or you're getting headaches, or you're getting racing hearts, like panic attacks, which I've experienced all of that. And that's really what triggered me to completely change my career, like just leave my job. The other thing is, do you experience becoming a different person? Do you feel like you lost yourself? Like when you come home, you are bitter, you're angry, or you get into a lot more fights with your partner. You're just not acting like yourself, and you seem to be lost all the time. Other signs, are you losing how to prioritize things? So, for example, like say something shows up that's really important, it's an important deadline for your career, but you're going to miss like even attending a funeral. You're missing out on big family events. You're not showing up your kids' first dance recital. You're missing out on their, third birthday. Like those are just showing that like you got your priorities wrong, which I've also completely experienced. So those are some signs of when you probably want to look at leaving your career. Now, I'm not saying all of a sudden do that because everyone has their different approach. And some are like, I just want to just quit my job and be done with it. And that's great if you can afford to. I would say some strategies of how to help you make that transition more seamless is first figure out, maybe try a test. Actually, this is what I did when I was thinking or contemplating a little bit of leaving my career was I tried a whole year, and I was lucky I had a partner who my husband, where I said, hey, I'm going to just rely on his income and on rental income and see if it works out. I moved all my money into a separate bank account, and I was not contributing to anything to the household and groceries or anything. Like all the rental checks that the cash flow was coming in was helping supplement that paying down the mortgage, but none of my salary income was. So that was a way to just see, can I survive? Of course, maybe you're not have a partner who can like offset, you not working for a while. Maybe you're not fortunate to try that test. So maybe you could try just saving up for a few months. They always say it's always good to save up for 3 to 6 months. So that gives you space to start figuring things out. The other thing I did was investing in real estate and stocks for quite a while. So I was diligently investing in rental properties so that I could get rental income and cash flow so that I was building up to that magic number. For me, it was unfortunately not going to replace my entire six-figure income. No way, not even close. But what it did was it gave me enough, let's say, financial flexibility and financial confidence. I said, hey, I can do this. So what I did was I bought enough rental properties such that it actually replaced my mortgage and my utilities, and I had a nest egg for my kids' tuition and for my future retirement. I would say go figure out what's that number. Now, it's probably going to be really hard to completely replace your entire income unless you have you're able to save like 100% your income, you make some great investments. But I would say, what's that little bit of a number where you could create some passive income where you can gain more financial flexibility, give you that confidence to pivot? When you get the income, salary income coming into your bank account, you automatically have it directed to a different bank account, and that's towards you making that transition. If you choose to decide to leave your job, you've built up your savings, you've invested your money and built up some passive income, and that money is locked up into a separate bank account so that you cannot touch it, because that's what's going to help you make that more of a seamless transition. And if you're still like, I just don't know what to do, I would say this great strategy that I do all the time is divide your paper into 3 columns. You say, state your problem. Your problem is, I want to leave my job. And then in the second column, you think about all the things that would make you happy about leaving your job and the things that wouldn't make you happy about leaving your job. So you write all the reasons. So you might say, if I leave my job, what if it's the bad decision? Or if I leave my job, man, I could travel more. That'd be so amazing. Just think of all the things that come up in your head. And in the third column, think about, okay, with every one of those reasons that were bad, negative, in the third column, think of a solution. So, for example, you said, what if it's a bad decision and I can't afford it? And then the solution to that is that you might be okay looking for a part-time career or try out another job that pays a lot less, but it gives you a bit of money and it helps you figure out what you want to do in the meantime. Get my drift is that you just think of solutions for every type of negative thought you have. And then once you go down the list and you realize, okay, you have a solution to every one of those problems, and there's actually a problem where you don't have a solution to, you have to ask yourself, are you going to let yourself not leave that job because of this problem? Hey guys, so what tips and strategies have you used when trying to figure out how to make that career move? If you are an entrepreneur, please share your knowledge. Give me your comments. I'll be sure to respond. And if you're thinking about leaving your job, what's stopping you? Please comment. I would love to hear about it, and I'll definitely respond again. And if you're new to this channel, please, it would mean the world to me if you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. And if you are already a subscriber to my community, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you all. And hey, I wanted to show you just a bit of a glimpse of the next video I'm making, which is how to retire off rental cash flow. I actually did an experiment for an entire year where I tried to just rely on rental cash flow. And I want to share what that journey was like and how you can protect yourself if you decide to retire early solely off rental cash flow. What are the strategies involved in making that transition seamless as possible?